social media team. Handling all things on Instagram, I'll be handling Facebook. So as we get started, and as I see some comments roll in, please do comment, limber up those fingers, and ask questions. We love those. And while your fingers are limbered up, you'll see a donation button there to Utah's Zoological Society. As you know, we are closed, and cash flow has come to a dead stop. Whatever you can do to donate, think of it this way: we get between 7,000 and 10,000 views on average per Facebook Live. If everybody just donated $1, think how that would benefit us. There's other opportunities to give on our website, including some new animal illustrations from our resident art director, Jay Weston. Take a look at those. We have, I think he has a rhino, I think he has a markhor, and a hornbill. And speaking of hornbills, we're going to be talking with some keepers today who take care of some of our avian friends. Today we're in what we call the Animal Resource Center, affectionately known as the ARC. Here at the zoo, you may have seen this building. On the train ride, as you approach the bridge, we're in the red barn to the right. So, yeah, that's where we are, exactly. So thanks for joining us. As you can see, I'm now in a mask. I apologize if the audio isn't so great. Doing the best we can. All of us here at the zoo are taking that extra abundance of caution. Whenever any staff is out on grounds, we now are required to wear a mask. It's a really good thing. You guys should be doing it too when you're out in the community. So get yourself a mask. It's one of our, safety is one of our core values, so we are following those guidelines. Okay, enough from me, for Pete's sake. Let's get started. I've got some wonderful guests here. We got from Animal Care Autumn and Mandy, and we're going to talk what today, Autumn?
So today we're going to talk about owls and
Oh, and there's Eric with Thor, the great horned owl. Yes.
yeah, so we've got our owl friends with us. We have Thor, the great horned owl, and then we also have Apollo, who is our western screech owl. So we are going to be talking a little bit about owls, and then of course, what comes out of them.
Yes, what comes out of the owls?
We are not talking about Hoot today, but instead of pellets. So I actually have some here. So we have this big guy. That is from Thor, the great horned owl. And then this little guy is actually from another small species of owl, the burrowing owl. So that's about the size that Apollo's pellets would be as well.
So when you say pellet, it's not animal waste that comes, it's, explain what that is. Do they cough it up? Or?
Yes, exactly. So the pellet is actually all of the undigestible material that the animal cannot actually digest. So we actually are always dissecting owl pellets in school and summer camp. I'm sure many of you guys out there have done this activity before. However, a fun fact is that all kinds of birds of prey actually will regurgitate pellets. It's very important to all of their health. So hawks will do it, but even the shrike, which is a songbird that eats meat, will do it, as well as shorebirds, anything that really eats meat that has that undigestible material in it. However, all of those animals have a little bit higher stomach acid content than an owl does. So because of that, owl pellets actually have all kinds of minerals in them. And that's why we often will digest owl pellets rather than hawk pellets, which are usually done in the air, but they can't be digested. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the biology of how this happens. So when owls catch their prey, they will actually swallow it whole most of the time. Whereas if you see how fast their prey, they'll actually break it up into small pieces and end up eating. And then that will all get digested down in the stomach. But for an owl, they swallow that prey item whole. And then this stuff that can't get digested actually forms into this pellet shape inside of that organ. And then, usually a couple of hours after they eat that prey item, they are going to regurgitate this up the esophagus and pump it out. In fact, they cannot eat another prey item until they have regurgitated this pellet.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so this is really important to their health because it also cleans out their body. It scrapes up the sides and it gets rid of any bacteria that's in there. So it actually is very important for
these from, gang? Anybody have any ideas?
This is obviously more than one.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Not a whole animal.
Like a creature, which would be a little bit scary.
Think of what an owl's main diet is.
Oh, we got a mouse.
There with the mouse? Question mark. It is a mouse.
So, rodents predominantly
Thank
make
you,
up a
Kirsten.
lot of different
Tabitha.
owl diets, and that's what we end up feeding our animals here. In fact, I kind of got out a diet today. This is one of the first reach out later.
Oh, there you go.
He's going to eat this whole thing whole, so you can see it's like it's one of the diets we follow. Very tough animal. So, we're predominantly pellets. So what we see in our alcohol would be a lot different mice and rats. However, in their food habitat, they do eat a very varied diet. So we'll follow the habitat of colors like large insects, maybe some lizards, like amphibians, but a lot of mice. Or the first one out, they actually eat skunks a lot of the time. Yeah. You don't know how to put some stuff, so.
Those do look like game pieces from the game Operation Sebastian. Nice.
And I was just careful getting them out.
Yes, without getting zapped, right?
So we can actually start kind of going through the ones we want to see what we got going on here. So these are actually two pellets from four to show you that they can vary in size and color. So one of the reasons they might vary is both of those aspects because of fur color. So this was probably a white rodent, that was probably a darker rodent, and then also we might have just eaten more steak than another steak. So let's go ahead and do the big one first.
Okay, and yes, Bean, you just might see an owl eat something a little bit later. Everybody stay tuned.
Someone said they hate mice. Well, good, because owls eat them.
Yes, they're actually amazing pest control. So I always highly recommend going online and finding nest box plants for owls, like western screech owls that like to live inside the nests and trees. Those nest boxes will actually draw them to your property, and then they'll be like natural pest control.
So what is the consistency of it? What does it feel like?
So it definitely feels wet.
Oh.
They do have a slimy coating on them to help come up the esophagus. These ones are also in the freezer to kind of help preserve them.
They look pretty fluffy, so it's
They
good.
are fluffy, so they are entirely made of hair. So this is all that mouse.
This is the mouse hair.
Yeah, and so if I were being really clean about it, I would have to use scissors,
Nice.
all that, but I'm just going for it today.
So MEH12 is asking, does it feel weird?
It does feel weird. It definitely does.
It does look weird to
It does
me.
not feel like a fluffy bunny at all. It sounds pretty coarse. It's gone through that digestive system.
It's not like petting a rabbit.
God, no. Not fun like that. So this guy actually doesn't have a ton of stuff in it. It looks like he did get a little potential leg bone here. Maybe some sort of leg bone over here. So we also have this part that we have that does
a lot of love for her mask. I love the panda and the gorilla. Our awesome volunteers, yes. Thank you, zoo volunteers. So great. They're wonderful.
So are you going to reassemble the puzzle for us or no?
Yeah, we sure could.
We'll take a photo of the creations later that we made.
There's another. Juicier, darker, too. Interesting. Yes.
I'll try not to zoom in too long.
Yeah, right around lunchtime. You gotta love it.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. It's pretty awesome, though, to showcase. And actually, scientists will go through wild owl pellets to kind of determine what they're thinking about their nests. So this is like our very own science project. This one actually a little bit harder to determine what's in it because it's a little bit larger. So we got some rib bones. There's a rib bone so small. And I think maybe I'm going to use a skull there.
And yes, we will be getting up close to the owls here. People are asking about that.
Don't worry. It's not going to be complicated. Here is another skull. He's actually the entire portal pocket for that island.
Wow.
Right?
Oh, that's a great looking skull. You guys see that?
You might go ahead and see this guy from it. Yeah, that's a pretty awesome find.
Wow.
Sometimes scientists can find things like that showcasing their wide variety of dinosaurs and different habitats. Well, it looks like we got more of the same this time. So, let's go ahead and check out the owls and kind of talk about their adaptation for their kids. So, owls are so all classes of dolphins have their own way. Owls actually come mostly in their secondary. Now, many owls have their own identical theory. Like the one of them up high on the side of their skull, the other one is down low on the other side. So, as a general owl, you might notice they have a circular shape on their face. So you'll see it right there, or that. But those
Right.
owls are actually like the size of their shoulders.
The tufts here are not there, right? And that, some of you have asked that. They're below those. You just can't see them. They're covered with feathers, right?
So if I was blown or feathers, which we're not,
No.
you would see a big number there. They don't have a power here like they do. Those feather tufts are actually just your first little flash.
Ah,
Scientists think that they are basically like a circular shoulder shape of that thing. Or the rest of their body is made of like tree bark. So those tufts just help make them additional like tree bark to kind of hide for animals like other insects, and then also animals like crows that might get stuck on an owl.
yeah.
So that means that the little trick they have will actually help the parents around them. So we as humans actually have pretty imperfect brains. We can't see our own thoughts.
Oh, man, perfect here.
Imperfect, Jeff! So they've actually can hear a mouse if it's really deep under our force down. So they'll actually first help triangulate it with triangulate it where they'll kind of dance their head around, kind of on the video.
Let's see that. There we go. Yeah, nice. Oh, I got it down. Yes.
That's the sound from here to here. So once they are still, they're actually put the sound on. So that's the little straight out of the plate. So that's
birds, they kind of fly silently, right? So they can, yeah. Yeah, exactly. These guys, yeah, amazing. Just another thing to love about owls, gang. This is Apollo. Apollo 4. And are they both native to Utah? Someone has. They're both native to. Yep, you can see them all throughout the state, gang. Now, isn't that something? Apollo's getting a lot of love. Yeah. Now, someone asked if they want to build an owl box for their backyard. Where would be a good place to put that? Yeah.
That was one of the questions. What was that splitter area behind you?
Yeah, go to wildaware Utah, folks, and you can just Google that, and there's a lot more information about owl boxes and what you can do to take care of our owl friends in the wild. These guys are found, these are not on public display here at the zoo. They're part of our ambassador animal program. Why don't you talk about that? That's right. That's exactly right. Next up is building a new animal resource center that guests will actually get a chance to come in and visit our animals when they're not visiting schools or otherwise being used as ambassadors. Because they're always ambassadors. Now, are we going to feed Thor, or how's that going to... They're not going to eat. Okay. Sorry, gang. That's what they feed them. Yeah. Especially being handheld like they are. So, fantastic. Well, thanks, Autumn, so very much. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Thor. Thank you, Apollo. Appreciate your time today. Well, I don't know about all of you guys, but I sure learned a lot about owls today, about pellets and dissect. I've never seen a pellet being dissected. So that was fun for me. I hope it was fun for all of you. Again, take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. Practice social distancing. And we're here every day doing these field trips throughout the zoo. So please join us at 11:30. Tell your friends and family. Please support us. Whatever you can do would be much appreciated. So until I see you guys tomorrow, remember to always be a champion for wildlife and take care. Bye-bye now.